power cuts out, right in the middle of dinner prep. The house goes pitch black, except for the flash of lightning through the kitchen window. I'm standing there, screwdriver in hand, mouth half full of whatever burnt casserole I was trying to save. The storm's howling outside like it knows something I don't. I'm Stephen Brannick, retired electrician, built this house with my own 2 hands, raised my son alone after his mother died. I always trusted my family, even when it was hard. But tonight, that trust's cracking like the old drywall I patched up last month. When the power dies, something else flickers to life, something I wasn't ready to see. This storm's messing with the power lines, but it's also messing with me. I grab my toolbox and shuffle down to the basement, heading straight for the old security panel I wired years ago. Digital systems were never my thing. Analog, simple, reliable. That's how I like it. I flick the switches, hear the hum of the old monitors springing awake. Then I see it. The footage. Ryan, my son, and Jessica, his wife, standing in the garage, whispering, planning. I freeze. My fingers twitch on the monitor. This wasn't some vague suspicion. This was cold, recorded proof. They're talking about me, about killing me. Accident? Insurance money? No one will know, Jessica says. Ryan nods like he's already counting cash. I want to yell. I want to smash the screen. But I sit there, silent, watching every damn second. The house feels different now, like every creak and groan is a warning. I built these walls to protect my family, but they've been hiding poison inside them all along. I keep watching, trying to remember the boy who grew up here, the one I raised with sweat and patience. But the man on the screen isn't that boy. Not anymore. Step 1, Ryan says. Gas line. Slow leak. No traces. Jessica's eyes glint cold. Thursday night. Dinner. Perfect timing. I blink and catch myself holding my breath. The memory of last Christmas, the laughter around this same table, punches me harder than the storm outside. How did we get here? When did my family turn into strangers? The monitors flicker, crackling slightly with interference. I reach out, steadying myself against the control panel. The storm's outside. The storm inside me just started. I don't know what's worse, knowing my son wants me dead, or realizing I never saw it coming. I lean closer to the screen, voice barely a whisper. They think the man who built this house is too old to see the cracks in the walls they're hiding behind. What would you do if the people you trusted were the ones plotting against you? I tore myself away from the monitor and went straight for the basement crawl space. The smell of dust and old wiring hit me like a punch. Funny how a house can smell like memories and decay all at once. I pulled out my old toolbox, the one I carried when Ryan was a kid, watching me fix light switches and outlets. Felt like a lifetime ago. I started rewiring, slipping new lines into the walls I'd built with my own hands. This wasn't about power anymore. It was about control, about watching, about setting traps nobody would see until it was too late. I patched a few wires to the gas valve, careful not to touch the slow leak Ryan talked about. I installed backups on the circuit breakers, rerouted cameras to new angles, hidden speakers in the living room ceiling, motion sensors in the hallway, all old school, mechanical, no fancy tech to hack. The irony? I was turning this house into a cage. My cage. My fortress. The walls I raised to protect my family, I was now using to expose them. I felt sick and proud all at once.
I paused, fingers tracing a scorch mark on the panel from years ago. I remembered Ryan, maybe 8 or 9, wide-eyed, trying to pull a wire loose. "Careful," I'd said, voice soft but firm. "Electricity's not a toy." He never really listened. Hell, I never thought he'd turn on me like this. Maybe I was too damn proud, too trusting. I gave him everything, the house, the lessons, my time, and he planned to kill me in it. I caught myself watching the empty hallway, imagining their footsteps, quiet, calculated, like they always were. Jessica's cold eyes in the footage, Ryan's nervous twitch. They thought I was slow, old, past the point of noticing. But I was wired different. I checked the triggers again, one in the kitchen light switch, another in a thermostat, both wired to set off a silent alarm in my room. If gas levels spiked, I'd know. No chance of accident here, not on my watch. A cold sweat broke out as I wired a new relay into the basement window lock. That was my backup plan if they tried to sneak out or in. I wasn't ready for a fight, not like they wanted. No punches, no shouting, just slow, methodical exposure. The house was silent, except for the storm hammering the roof. Thunder rolled low and heavy. It sounded like a warning. I leaned back, eyes tired but sharp. The house was no longer just a home. It was a battleground, a map of every secret I uncovered, every lie taped under the floorboards. I thought about Ryan again. When he was a boy, small and messy, he'd climb the attic rafters just to hear me fix the radio. He wanted to understand the world, even if I didn't always show it right. Now he just wanted out, at my expense. I swallowed hard. Was I turning into him? Calculating, cold, broken? No, I wasn't like them. I wasn't. I checked my watch. Dinner was hours away. Plenty of time to set the final piece. The dining room light switch was rigged to flash the hallway lights and trigger the cameras. If anything was off, I'd catch it, quietly. No alarm bells, no cops, just evidence. I worked slower now, careful with every wire, every splice. The house hummed under my hands, like it was alive again. But this time, it wasn't love keeping it alive. It was truth. I stopped and looked around the room. The peeling wallpaper, the cracked ceiling, the faded photo of my late wife on the mantel. I touched it lightly. I hated what this was turning into, but I hated betrayal more. I wrapped up the wiring, tucked everything back behind the panel. I flipped the breaker switch. Lights blinked in sequence. Monitors flickered to life. I whispered, almost to myself, "This house was built on love, but tonight it's wired for truth." The storm outside kicked up again, louder now. I wiped sweat from my brow and started heading upstairs. Then, ring. Ring. The doorbell. In this storm? Now? My heart jumped. I froze. The house suddenly felt too quiet, too exposed. Who the hell could that be? The doorbell rang again, sharp, insistent. I didn't move right away. The storm was still thrashing outside, rain pelting the porch like a warning. I knew who it was before I saw. Ryan and Jessica. Late as hell, like they'd rehearsed every excuse in the world. I opened the door. Jessica's eyes darted past me, nervous. Ryan's jaw was tight, the same way it always got when he was trying to stay calm but wasn't. "Dad," Ryan said, "too casual. Traffic was a nightmare." Jessica forced a smile. "Sorry we're late. The kids." She trailed off like the lie didn't matter. I stepped aside, letting them in. "Dinner's not cold yet." They nodded, stepping in. The smell of the storm mixed with the old house, musty, electric, tense.
We sat at the table, the one I'd built by hand decades ago. But tonight it felt like a trap. I poured the wine. Ryan accepted, but Jessica hesitated. Conversation crawled. Polite questions, half smiles. Every word weighed, every glance measured. Ryan glanced at the dining room light switch every so often. Didn't notice I caught it. I broke the silence. Funny thing about fuses. Jessica looked up, a flicker of suspicion in her eyes. What they didn't expect, I said slowly, was that the fuse they lit leads right back to them, and I've got the breaker. Ryan stiffened. Jessica blinked like I'd thrown cold water on her face. "Breaker," Jessica repeated. Her voice was sharp now, like a blade hiding behind silk. I smiled, not a warm one, the kind that slides under skin. "Yeah," I said, "the breaker. Controls everything. Lights, alarms, truth." They both looked away. Ryan clenched his fists under the table. Jessica's fingers tapped a silent rhythm. Just then, knock knock. The door. I didn't expect Mrs. Packerson so soon. She breezed in with a basket of cinnamon rolls, humming like she owned the storm. "Oh, Stephen, I thought I'd surprise you," she said, settling herself on the sofa. Ryan and Jessica's eyes met. Tension snapped. I watched them as they tried to adjust, to play nice for the neighbor. Their smiles were too tight, their jokes too forced. Mrs. Patterson chatted away, oblivious, but I saw it all. The way Ryan's jaw clenched, Jessica's restless hands. The dinner stretched longer, each bite tasting more bitter. Then, when Mrs. Patterson excused herself with a cheerful goodbye, the real game started. I pulled out my phone, flipped open the app linked to the cameras. "Wanna see something?" I said quietly, voice calm but hard. They leaned in. The screen flickered to life, showing the garage, Ryan and Jessica's secret meeting, their whispered plans, the way they looked over the ropes and tools, the way they think no one was watching. Jessica's face drained. Ryan swallowed hard. I shut the phone. Silence filled the room, thick and heavy. "No cops," I said. "No shouting. Just proof and patience." Ryan's voice cracked. "Dad, you don't—" "I'm done pretending," I cut in. "Done waiting." Jessica's eyes flashed with fear and anger, but she didn't speak. The storm outside had quieted. The house was still, but inside everything had shifted. I stood, feeling the weight of the years and the cold clarity of the moment. Ryan looked at me, broken and furious. Jessica stared down at her hands, trembling. I smiled again, not warm, not kind. "Enjoy your dinner," I said, "because the breaker's in my hands, and it's time the truth switched on." They didn't say a word. They couldn't. I left the room and went to the basement, the heart of the house, the nerve center I'd rebuilt. The monitors showed every corner, every hidden moment. I watched them watching me, watching their plans crumble in real time. And I thought, Maybe this was the last time the house was theirs, because tonight the breaker was mine.